things that are the most immediate need and the things that the United States can really make a difference at. What the U.S. is really good at doing with its troops and with its capabilities is moving mass amounts of material and supplies into the area. That is what he is going to do. He's focusing on the bottlenecks, the small airport at Goma, and there are other areas, by the way, than just Goma that have acute problems. He's focusing on water, he's focusing on food. Those are the kinds of things that the U.S. can really make a difference on.
Let me turn briefly to our international security consultant, Tony Cordesman, who is in our Washington Bureau, rushed in to help us this morning. Tony, what can be done in a hurry to alleviate this horrendous suffering?
Well, the key steps are the ones that the President has described. That will probably increase the throughput of goods to the airports by about 6 to 8 times, which is a tremendous increase. It won't come close to meeting the need, but it's a major difference. Adding the water will be the critical aspect. Now, there are a few other things that could be done, like airdrops, but those generally have limited capacity. The airports are the test of what can be done in the next week to 10 days.
Tony, one of the relief workers in Goma last night told ABC's Bill Blakemore they're covering about 5% of the need of water at the moment. What does it take, and how quickly can you get up to 100% or anything even approaching it?
I don't think you can get up to 100%. I think the only way you could possibly meet the need is to send many of the people back and to disperse them. Probably in the next week, you can double or triple the amount of water that is available in the areas where people are now concentrated. If you can disperse them, you might be able to meet somewhere between 20 and 35% of the need, although any of those figures are purely speculative. But you'll never be able to meet even half the need unless you can change where the people are and move them to new sources of water.
Okay, Tony, stand by for a sec, if you would, and John McQuethy as well. We heard many refugee workers on the ground in these scenes yesterday urging these people, those who could, that person obviously couldn't, to go back to Rwanda. ABC's Ron Allen, who was there for us, was up at the border this morning. We talked to him just a few minutes ago and asked him whether there was any sign of people going back.
There were several hundred people at the border today trying to get across, people who say they are tired of all the disease and the hunger that they're suffering here, and they think they'd be better off back home. So they're trying to cross, but today the Zairean authorities who were there closed the border down and would not let people cross.
Any reason why the Zaire wouldn't let them go back?
They say it's not safe. There are a lot of weapons, a lot of unexploded grenades that are littering the path between the no man's land, essentially, that is the border area.
Ron, you yourself went across this morning. What did you find?
The area of the border is littered with weapons which were taken from the Rwandan army as it retreated and joined the refugee exodus more than a week ago. But we crossed easily. Our vehicles could not cross. There is a potential problem there. So, as we understand it now, the Zairean authorities are saying that perhaps tomorrow or the next day they will open the border.
When you talk to people who are coming across the border from Rwanda into Zaire, what do they tell you they are now fleeing from?
They seem to be fleeing what they're hearing on these government radio broadcasts, the propaganda warning them that Hutus, especially the majority tribe in Rwanda, are going to be executed by the Tutsi, mainly Tutsi rebel army, which now controls vast areas of the country.
Did you run into any Tutsis on the other side, and did they say that these people can come home safely?
Yes, we spent several hours with the Rwandan Patriotic Front, the RPF. They toured us through some of the areas across the border, which are now essentially ghost towns. They give every assurance, and the Rwandan government, the new government, which has set itself up in the capital, Kigali, has said today that they welcome people to return, both Hutu and Tutsi.
How easily is aid getting there at the moment?
It's not getting here at all in any significant quantities, as I understand it, Peter. The number of flights coming in is very small. There's a lot of congestion and confusion at the airport, and it's just not happening as quickly as the relief community would like it to. There is limited food distributions, but as you can see, these roads are clogged with people. It's a little bit open now, but often there are people in the way, and trucks literally cannot get where they want to go. So there are all kinds of logistics problems with the distribution.
And is the most... ABC's Ron Allen interrupt the middle of that conversation we had a few minutes ago. ABC's Ron Allen in Goma, on the border between Rwanda and Zaire, where the president says we are watching the worst humanitarian crisis in a generation. We've seen it for ourselves for the last week. And as you look at the number of people who are dying, 1,000 yesterday, probably more to die, most of them dying of cholera. President saying that 20 million cholera kits will be delivered tomorrow. These are the anti-dehydration kits. It is clear to all of us that once again the power of human suffering as seen by the rest of the world is finally having a major impact on governments. A little later today, 1:30 Eastern Time to be specific, we will be back for the arraignment of O.J. Simpson in Los Angeles. And then on World News Tonight this evening will be a complete wrap-up of the disaster for the Rwandan refugees and the O.J. Simpson trial. I'm Peter Jennings. Thank you for joining us.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
This is ABC,